Evening all, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to do a quick look at Spick and Span. Spick and Span is a quality ship. If you are not doing a quality ship, you are missing out, brah. How to explain this? So it comes from, I saw something on Reddit, and I will put a full description into the description so you can follow it. But a user basically created a ship that kind of makes quality a bit easier. So let me kind of break this down. Look at all my splendid quality things. Are you gel, bro? You should be. So this is every item in the game, and as you can see, it's kind of good, really. We're sort of making most things. There's a few things that I don't know why I'm bothering with them. I think actually there is no difference between legendary, epic, and basic for storage tanks. But I did it because why not? These are pretty good. 120, that's pretty good. So yeah, anyway, quality. Quality is a thing. Everyone in life has to have quality. Quantity is good, but if you've ever gone to a fine dining restaurant where they give you basically a leaf on a piece of toast and then you eat it and you think, was that worth $1,000? The answer to the question is, of course it isn't. But quality becomes something that actually can be beneficial. So for example, look at this steam turbine. It's obviously much more efficient than a basic one. And I would say that's true for most things. So even things like bots and drones and things like that. Legendary is good. There is a lovely table, which I'll probably try and find and put here. And if I failed, I failed. But, you know, it will show you which things are actually quite good to turn into legendary. So cargo bays, for example, look at that, 50 instead of 20. That's pretty good. So, you know, it's worth doing. Grabbers probably most particularly are the one thing that you need. These are the Epstein asteroid collectors, and that might get me cancelled. But yeah, lots of grabbing going on here in a way that I really shouldn't be joking about. In fact, I've just made myself kind of sad, so I'm just going to stop hovering and think about what I just did. Anyway, so Spick and Span is a ship that basically flies around and captures rocks, and it just basically processes them, upcycling them. So we're going to show a bit of this. So as you can see, being kind of busy. That's quite a lot of legendary coal and quite a iron, and quite a lot of legendary carbon. So we're just going to drop a few bits back. Boom, boom, boom. Right, so we've got a bit of space. Let's crack on. So we're going to go to, I can't remember what we do. I think we do Fulgora. So let me kind of show you the process. And then I'll show you how you process it, because this is step one. There's two steps to this very, very important thing that you're about to witness through your eyeballs into your brains. And this is important because these collect the rocks. Oh my God, this is so basic. And they then put them into this this kind of upcycling machine. I have built this so that basically it could just run anywhere in the inner system. I probably wouldn't send it to Aquilo. I think just run it kind of Gleba Fulgora inwards, and it runs perfectly fine. But you see here, it kind of gobbles up the rocks, and then there is a chance, because we're using quality modules, those are the best I've got, so don't have a go at me. The better you've got, the better you could do. Obviously you do need them, so I need to put one in there. But what it does is it then creates, well, let's just discuss it. So it actually has a chance of creating another rock, all the same again, but it also has a chance to upcycle the quality. So quality is then fed through. So you see here we've got like a level 3, a level 2, uncommon, I think they're called. And then what it does, it goes into an uncommon one. Anything that's kind of already a higher level than uncommon is then bypassed straight through to the next level. So think of it as descending through a quality structure into effectively rare, epic, and then ultimately legendary, which really is kind of where you want to be. And here then you have some choices. You can actually make all of these things legendary. So, you know, ice, calcite, copper, iron, you know, carbon, sulfur, etc. I have kind of rigged it so that it's only really pulling in iron. And I'll show you why in just a minute, because that's important, and carbon. So those are the two really super, like, underlined arrow pointing at it. These are the two you definitely need to get from this process, because back on Nauvis, we receive through an ingest request. That's actually a term I worked on a long time ago, something called an ingest room. let's just say it's where little piggies go to die. It was very sad. It made me very sad. I had to really question my life choices tucking into that bacon sandwich a bit later on in the day. And what happens is that iron is then turned into quality iron plates, so legendary iron plates, and that's step one. Now you're probably saying, Pyrex, why don't you do copper as well? Well, you can, but there's an even better thing to do, which is to take that carbon that you get and the sulfur and then dump it into a coal synthesis machine. This coal synthesis machine, which is very difficult to say, then produces legendary coal. That's how I'm going to say it for the rest of the video. And we then bung that into a cryogenic plant with basic petroleum gas, or petrol, as we British people call it. And then it creates legendary plastic bar. Legendary plastic bar can then be mixed with just basic molten iron and molten copper to make low density structures, brackets, legendary. So once you've got your leg end ARI, low density structure, you then bung that through a recycler, and lo and behold, you get legendary steel and legendary copper plate in quantities that you will be unable to handle. Quite honestly, you get ungodly amounts of it. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, just do this. Feed the plastic that you get from this recycler back into the process, and then effectively you've got legendary bits and bobs. There is a third bit, or a fourth bit, which is rock. You need rock. The way I do this is the ship goes to Vulcanus and drops off the legendary, is it getting annoying yet? Legendary cryo site. Is it cryosite? Yeah, calcite, sorry. And then that is shipped down to a foundry. I'm going to stop it now because it's even annoying me. And then you basically just make molten copper from lava. You see here we're basically just using basic lava. If I don't even think you can get quality lava, but you see it produces legendary stone. It also does produce an awful lot of molten copper. So all we're doing with that is we're basically just dumping it straight back into the lava. It's an eternal cycle, you know it. But what this effectively means is that then we then have ungodly amounts of legendary rock, and we can then turn that into concrete blocks and so on. So that is kind of our quality 101. Now, what do we do with this? So we obviously then turn the basic components into chips. So we're doing that for red, blue, and green. I'm not sure why that's not running. Why are these not running? It's because we have no legendary copper cable. Let's just see, where am I going? So here we go. So it's because, okay, so here we go. So this is where the sheer scale of it causes a few clogs. So we're just going to switch that off. And I think when it comes to iron, we're just going to stockpile that. And we'll probably bung a sensor on it so that we don't have an issue with it. There we go. So let's just stop that clogging. So this now, oh man, I've got to do some work here. So there we go. So that means we now have legendary copper wire that then kicks off legendary greed circuits. I'm just going to say everything from this point forward, just put the word legendary in front of it so I don't have to say legendary anymore. Red chips, blue chips, etc. So this then fuels what I can only be described as an utter complete waste of resources, which is every single, I'm just going to show you it, every single module in the game, with some space to go, is then being produced, and we then use clever circuitry. So let's just use this as an example. So the grabbers, these are normal grabbers, these are just sort of, I don't know, I could make another joke here, but I won't. But these are just single arm grabbers, so, you know, one arm bandit perverts, that then basically drop into here. If you want this blueprint, you can have it. It's literally going to be in the description. So, you know, there you go. Hopefully that helps. And you can figure it out yourself. But it sort of works. What it does, I don't know why I wanted everything. I was just going to go straight to legendary, but I think it's now ended that I kind of do want a bit of range. So, for example, let's see if I can find one. Probably most of these are not great examples, but the way I want it to work is that it produces 10 basic ones. It then won't crush these and start upcycling them until we have 10. Then it recycles them, chance of creating better products. This then kicks off the, I can't remember what level of quality that is, uncommon, there we go. And then this creates 10. So once we hit 10 there, this then will start recycling anything more. So, 10, n plus 1, 10 plus 1, so 11 onwards is then recycled, and so on and so on. So it produces effectively what should mean we have 10 of the basic lower models and then unlimited. Well, there's no cap on legendary from that point forward. So that's how it should work. So far, so good. It's kind of working. I do think that I have some issue here, though, and I'm just wondering if I'm missing something. But anyway, we'll come back to that. So this is kind of working. Yes, it's very bot heavy. I know. I'm going to see if I can optimize this. But at the moment, it's fine. It works. I think there's much better ways to do these things, because we could just literally craft these things. When it comes to things like biter eggs, haven't figured that bit out yet. So post in the comments, tell me how you do biter eggs. I need to start fish, so we start to get legendary spiders and so on. But it's kind of working. So if I come back to my base, here we have then. So we can track where are we, what are we producing. So some things we produce on other planets, so we're not going to worry too much about them here. But where we have, say, I don't know, the miners, we're producing those very, very proficiently on Vulcanus. So I'll just show you that now. So here it's same engine, same process. You see here, we're creating all the different ones. And then we have our little pot here. So we're producing, 113, good Lord. I think we probably want to cap that a bit. I don't think we'll ever need that many. So we probably should start, well, this needs a bit of love, but we're doing also the same for foundries now. So we're starting to build, effectively quite a lot of foundries. So I'm just going to put that there. So this basically means that we're going to be on a sort of a program, a targeted run to have legendary everything pretty soon. And it's pretty much automated. The same is true for really putting things on your suits. Again, amazingly, I still don't have a legendary mech suit, because I've just not really done the final bit yet. And you'll see in the next video, as we start to look at Aquilo. Sneak peek, Aquilo basically is now producing in a very sort of effective way, but there's lots here that we need to do, such as chip production. So this is our chip plant. Currently we're just producing basic chips, so we need to think about starting to upcycle this. I think the way we'll do this is we don't actually need 8 machines doing this. We'll probably bung these quality items into those quality modules, etc. So that's that. So basically, Spick and Span has changed entirely the game on how to do quality for me. This has been, and again, I think full credit to many other YouTubers, Nilaus and so on, who came up with this. I didn't come up with this. I saw a post on Reddit and thought, oh my goodness, that is actually very clever. And I think this has been, let's say, a godsend for me, because it's made the game a lot easier. So I would recommend you do a Spick and Span style ship. It's over engineered at the moment, so if you just want to do this in all basic modules, it will work fine as long as you put your quality modules in. It will just take a bit longer, but this thing within a day has produced all of this. Like, I haven't messed with it too much at all, and I'm genuinely quite amazed at actually how good it's been. In fact, so much so, in fact, it now just sits in orbit waiting for this to cool down, basically, the resources. So there we go. I think this has been an incredible discovery for me, and it really does so. You should be on Reddit. If you play Factorio, please do consider using things like Reddit, because the ability to quickly learn things, I think, is absolutely, second to none. So really, really big fan of that whole thing. So definitely, it's a great place to come and get ideas. And I think particularly when you sort of, what I was doing originally with my sort of step 1 quality machines, I'll just show you what I had originally. I mean, they were pretty bad. I mean, they were okay, they worked, but they got jammed. They certainly started the journey of getting things like substations, because quality legendary substations are absolutely worth their weight in gold. But now when we're starting to get into things like bulk inserters, I mean, when you see how quickly they spin, they're absolutely worth it. So highly recommend doing this. And I think, when I come to it, there's a few things that I think really, for Aquilo, for example, you need legendary roboports because it seems to massively overcharge the drones. So that helps with the cold there, which is obviously a big thing. But it has certainly helped. So there we go. So yeah, the HMS Spick and Span, what a ship. I would recommend doing something like this all day long. I will include the blueprint. Please feel free and let me know your thoughts. Again, all credit to a lot of very other clever people like Nilaus and others who just basically came up with a golden idea. So this is me paying tribute and credit to that. Although someone I'm sure will say, "Hey, you stole the idea." Well, yeah, I did, but I'm giving credit. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your comments. The utter, complete and total waste of resources here is not going unnoticed. I know people are very dismayed at how I'm making very high quality things and still destroying them. And that will continue because, frankly, with legendary miners, I don't think I'm ever going to run out of resources ever again. So I might as well just keep mining and see where we end up. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.